All right, let's just jump right into it. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're taking an objective, structured look at one of the most explosive political showdowns in recent memory, the Los Angeles mayoral debate. But we aren't just looking at the debate itself. We're specifically analyzing how conservative and right-wing media commentators reacted to it. And let me tell you, their reaction to reality TV star Spencer Pratt taking on seasoned politicians, incumbent Mayor Karen Bass and Councilwoman Nithya Raman, was nothing short of electric. The sources we're analyzing today paint a picture of a highly polarized, viral clash between the establishment and a pure disruptor. So, let's get started.
To really understand the tone of this debate, you have to hear this quote. Just listen to this. "I blame this person for burning my house and my town and all my neighbors down." That was Spencer Pratt, pointing a finger directly at Mayor Karen Bass. I mean, wow, that perfectly sets the stage here. Right-wing commentators were immediately hooked by this. Pratt didn't bring polished, focus-grouped political talking points. He brought pure, chaotic disruption and intensely personal grievances. He completely shattered the typical debate decorum, and the media sources we're looking at, they absolutely loved it.
Which brings us to Section 1, the catalyst, clash over the wildfires. Let's look at where this debate really ignited.
So here is the stark contrast in the facts presented on stage. Pratt, who, keep in mind, actually lost his own home in these fires, came out swinging. He claimed that Mayor Bass denied a $17 million request for fire engines just weeks before the disaster, and that the city had literally drained two crucial reservoirs that firefighters desperately needed. On the flip side, Mayor Bass strongly defended her administration. She stated that firefighters were actually sent home by the fire chief, and she countered that the reservoirs Pratt brought up hadn't been used for wildfires in a million years because they were strictly for drinking water.
But the dispute got even more specific. Just look at this massive gap in the numbers. Mayor Bass claimed the fires were uncontrollable because hurricane-force winds reached nearly 100 miles per hour, grounding the firefighting planes. Well, Pratt fired right back, asserting the winds never topped 40 miles per hour in those crucial early hours. And this brilliantly illustrates Pratt's whole strategy. He didn't just politely disagree, he looked right out at the audience and told them to Google it, right there on their phones, directly accusing the mayor of lying. Commentators across the board highlighted this moment as an absolute masterclass in aggressive, disruptive debate tactics.
Moving right along, we hit Section 2, the core crisis, homelessness and crime. This is where commentators viewed Pratt's performance as a total demolition of the establishment's record.
The crucial point here is Pratt's explicit attack on Mayor Bass's signature homelessness initiative, a program called Inside Safe. Pratt cited some truly staggering numbers on stage, claiming the city spent over $400 million to house roughly 3,000 people. Let's put that into perspective. He framed this massive price tag as evidence of absolute systemic failure. Right-wing sources heavily amplified this critique, arguing that throwing hundreds of millions of dollars at the problem has only made the streets more dangerous. It perfectly aligned with Pratt's claim that inside safe makes all of us outside unsafe.
And Pratt didn't stop at the budget. He went straight after the underlying philosophy of his opponents. He aggressively pushed for mandatory treatment over Councilwoman Raman's shelter-first approach, arguing that the crisis is fundamentally a drug addiction problem, not just a housing shortage. Even claimed on stage that if Councilwoman Raman went under the freeway to simply offer beds, she would get stabbed in the neck. Commentators praised this incredibly blunt, unfiltered assessment, contrasting it with what they viewed as the naive policies of the Democrats on stage.
Now here is where the timing is just wild. While Mayor Bass was up on stage defending her public safety record and claiming that homelessness and crime were decreasing, something incredible was happening across the city. Right-wing media commentators pointed out a striking juxtaposition: Operation MacArthur Park. This was a massive concurrent federal raid targeting open-air drug markets right in the heart of Los Angeles. Just look at the scale of this raid. Federal agents seized 19 kilograms of fentanyl. 19 kilos. To put that in perspective, we are talking about a stash valued at up to $10 million. The sources we analyzed loved this real-time contradiction. They argued that the necessity of a federal raid, specifically taking out drug operations that local policies allegedly allowed to flourish, completely dismantled the mayor's narrative of decreasing crime right as she was speaking the words on the debate stage.
Shifting gears a bit, we're at Section 3, the litmus tests, rapid-fire stances. This segment acted as a definitive dividing line for the candidates' opposing worldviews.
Let's look at how this broke down, because it's fascinating. The moderators asked simple yes or no questions. Should the city run needle exchange programs? Should there be encampments near schools? Pratt delivered definitive one-word answers. No. Absolutely no needles, no encampments near kids. Mayor Bass and Councilwoman Raman, however, gave highly nuanced, much more defensive answers. Raman, for instance, tried to explain why she voted against the structure of an ordinance restricting school encampments, which led to a lengthy, kind of academic-sounding explanation. Right-wing commentators universally felt Pratt's common-sense directness totally exposed the establishment's inability to give a straight answer on basic public safety.
But the most explosive yes or no question of the night came down to voting. When asked if non-citizens should be allowed to vote in local elections, Pratt predictably said no. But both Mayor Bass and Councilwoman Raman answered, "It depends." The right-wing sources we analyzed practically threw a parade over this moment. They viewed the Democrats' "it depends" answers as a massive, disqualifying political liability, arguing it proves conservative talking points about the left wanting non-citizens to influence American elections.
So, how did the conservative media digest all of this? Welcome to Section 4, the conservative media reaction.
Commentators from across the right-wing spectrum, from Doc Rich to Megyn Kelly to Benny Johnson, they were totally aligned. They celebrated Pratt for his authenticity, his directness, and his sheer disruption. They noted that he successfully channeled a very specific Trump-esque energy. He wasn't polished, he was visibly nervous at times, but he was unfiltered and voiced the real frustrations of everyday residents. By completely breaking the typical polished political mold, the sources argue he made Bass and Raman look totally out of touch and defensive. And you know, that disruption is having a measurable impact. Look at these post-debate polling numbers cited by commentator Benny Johnson. Mayor Bass is sitting at 41%, Councilwoman Rama is at 31%, and Spencer Pratt has surged to 21%. Now sure, Pratt is still clearly in third place, but his momentum is undeniable. Commentators pointed out that he's causing a tangible shift in the race, splitting the establishment vote and giving voters a radically different option.
Which brings us to the ultimate question leaving this explainer. Can a reality TV disruptor actually take over Los Angeles? We've seen how conservative media is entirely rallied behind his explosive debate performance and viral momentum. But will the wider electorate in a deeply blue city translate that online virality and frustration into a victory at the ballot box? It's a fascinating political experiment unfolding right before our eyes. Thank you so much for joining me to unpack this debate, and as always, keep questioning what you see.